Beautiful move.
LeBron, by the way, in 18.9.
Oh my gosh.
It's just too much of that action. And all God's people said,
I like
that.
Amen,
that
brother.
High school 3-on-2 break.
Amen, brother.
119-96 is your final. Lakers, for the first time this season, have lost 3 in a row.
The Lakers just lost 3 games in a row, and everybody's dancing around the obvious problem. LeBron James is still in Los Angeles, and it's time to have the conversation nobody wants to have. The Kings' reign in LA has run its course, and pretending otherwise is just delaying the inevitable. What needs to happen next might shock you, but the writing's been on the wall for a while now.
What did you see overall in the game, kind of starting in that first quarter on the glass and the turnovers, and how that prevailed through it?
Yeah, you know, the two words of the day were effort and execution. And, you know, I feel like when we've done both of those things at a high level, we've been a good basketball team. When we haven't, we're a terrible basketball team. And tonight we were a terrible basketball team. And that started legitimately right away.
Have you ever stayed in a situation way longer than you should have, just because admitting it was over felt too hard? Drop a comment, because that's exactly where the Lakers are with LeBron right now. And everyone can see it except them. So the Lakers just got absolutely demolished by the Houston Rockets, 119-96, marking their 3rd straight loss and exposing what everyone's been trying to ignore. This team is not working. And at the center of it all is LeBron James, who had 18 points in a 21-point blowout loss. 18 points. That's the stat line of the guy who's supposed to be leading this franchise to championship contention.
So they need to listen to you.
Oh, they got to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not in a. I mean, they pretty on paper, but they can't guard anybody. You cannot play in the NBA today if you're not athletic. You cannot. I mean, especially big guys are irrelevant anymore. The game is led by perimeter players, and if you don't have athletic ability on the perimeter, you're going to struggle in the NBA. That's just the truth of the matter.
Let's start with the brutal reality that the analysts on the broadcast weren't afraid to point out. Charles Barkley straight up said the Lakers can't stop a bloody nose defensively. That's not just trash talk, that's facts. The Lakers started the season 19-7, which looked impressive on paper, but now they're 19-10, and their point differential was barely above even. That means they were winning close games early, and now they're getting exposed. One analyst called their record fraudulent, and honestly, that's the perfect word for it. They looked good in the standings, but anyone actually watching the games could see the cracks. They can't guard anybody. They have no defensive identity, and when things get tough, they fall apart completely. That's not a championship team. That's not even a conference finals team. That's a first-round exit waiting to happen.
And I think if they want to be a better team, they need to form some type of identity. I don't know which team I'm looking at sometimes. Sometimes they play fabulous basketball, even on the defensive end, and tonight it looked like it was lackluster efforts.
I know it's traditional, but I think the Lakers need to play some zone until they figure out. Play some zone. Well, when you play zone, that's a throwing up the white flag, red flag, blue flag.
The broadcast showed the Rockets running what looked like high school 3-on-2 breaks because the Lakers' transition defense was so bad. High school. That's the level of effort and organization we're seeing from a team that's supposed to be competing for titles. And LeBron, who's always prided himself on his basketball IQ and leadership, is on the floor for all of this happening. Here's what needs to be said clearly. LeBron James is 40 years old. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer. He's got 4 championships. He's one of the greatest players in basketball history. And his time as the centerpiece of a championship contender is over. That's not disrespectful. That's just reality. Father Time is undefeated, and even LeBron can't beat him forever.
Watching that game last night, and I was a teammate with LeBron James, grew up playing against him, played with him in AAU, McDonald's All-American. I know this man. When he's not engaged or he feels some type of way, it speaks in his body language. Last night, his body language was awful. He was not engaged, he was pouting, he was moping, he was walking up and down the damn floor, he was complaining. And I just think we're to this point, what LeBron and the Lakers their relationship has run its course. and they need to figure out a solution. And the solution is not him being in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform.
The problem is that the Lakers have built their entire franchise around keeping LeBron happy. They signed his son Bronny, making NBA history with the first father-son duo to play together. That's a great story, a wonderful moment for the James family. But from a basketball perspective, it means the Lakers are making decisions based on legacy and narrative rather than what actually makes them a better team. Bronny isn't ready for NBA minutes. Everyone knows it, but he's on the roster because of who his dad is.
What kind of read do you have on the Lakers right now?
Yeah, the Lakers might be, that record might be a little fraudulent, right? Because they were 19-9 going to today's game. Sounds good, right? Well, now they're 19-10, and if you look at their point differential, it was barely above even. And so there's some cracks showing here because you do have Luka, you have LeBron, and Austin Reeves, but Austin Reeves left the game with a calf strain, and you have to be really careful with those things, right? Because calf strains can be tricky, they can flare into Achilles, and then all of a sudden you're lost for the season, so they're going to be really careful with him.
They've surrounded them with role players like Austin Reeves, who left this game with a calf strain that could potentially turn into something worse. Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart are supposed to be their best defensive players, but one analyst pointed out that when those guys are on the floor, the offense struggles. It's a catch-22 that JJ Redick is trying to manage, and frankly, it's not working. Speaking of JJ Redick, let's talk about the coaching situation. The Lakers hired a first-year head coach who's never coached professionally before and handed him a roster with LeBron James on it. That's setting someone up to fail. Because when things go wrong, and they are going wrong, who's really making the decisions? Is it Redick, or is it LeBron, who's known throughout his career for being extremely involved in personnel and coaching decisions?
Offensively, with those three guys on the floor, they have the 7th best offensive rating in the NBA. However, that defensive rating is 24th, and you saw it today. The Rockets got anywhere they wanted to go. They could not get a stop. KD goes for 25. Alperen Sengun has a double-double. Amen Thompson absolutely ruined those guys. Nobody could stop him today. And so if you're the Lakers, that has to be sort of worrisome for you that you can't get any defensive stops. Their best two defensive players are Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart, but you have those guys on the floor, and now all of a sudden you're a little offensively challenged. I know Jared Vanderbilt had a pretty good game offensively tonight. We've seen flashes from Marcus Smart offensively this season, but it's sort of a catch-22 for JJ Redick about how he mixes and matches.
The broadcast mentioned that their offensive rating with LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves on the floor is 7th in the NBA. That sounds okay until you hear that their defensive rating is 24th. 24th. That means they can score a bit, but they can't stop anyone. And in today's NBA, where the game is led by perimeter players and athletic ability, the Lakers are getting run off the court by younger, faster, more athletic teams. The Rockets, who are inconsistent and don't even have a proper starting point guard, came into Crypto.com Arena and made the Lakers look like a high school team. Alperen Sengun had a double-double. Amen Thompson absolutely ruined those guys, according to the analyst. Nobody could stop him. Kevin Durant had 25 points. The Rockets got anywhere they wanted on the court. That's embarrassing for a Lakers team that's supposed to be competing at the highest level. And here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. LeBron is part of the problem. Not the whole problem, but definitely part of it. At 40 years old, he can't play the kind of two-way basketball that championship teams require from their best player. He can still put up points in spurts, but the defensive effort isn't there consistently. The transition defense is lacking. And when your best player isn't setting the tone defensively, the rest of the team follows suit. One of the analysts said something that really stood out. You cannot play in the NBA today if you're not athletic. It's especially big guys are irrelevant anymore. The game is led by perimeter players, and if you don't have athletic ability on the perimeter, you're going to struggle. That's describing the Lakers perfectly. They don't have the athleticism to compete with the top teams in the league, and LeBron, as great as he's been, isn't the athletic force he used to be. The suggestion that the Lakers should play zone defense is hilarious and depressing at the same time. As one analyst said, playing zone is throwing up the red flag, white flag, blue flag. It's basically admitting you can't guard people man-to-man, so you're trying to hide your defensive deficiencies with scheme. That's not what championship teams do. That's what teams that are in trouble do. Tim Doyle, one of the analysts, said the Lakers have a 0.0 chance of winning an NBA championship. 0.0. That's brutal, but is he wrong? They're 19-10, barely above .500 in point differential, getting blown out by teams they should be competitive with, and showing no signs of being able to fix their defensive problems. They're a team that looks good on a dating profile but has too much baggage when you actually get to know them. That's such a perfect analogy for what the Lakers are right now. The reality is that LeBron's presence is preventing the Lakers from doing what they actually need to do, which is rebuild. They can't fully commit to developing young players because they're trying to maximize LeBron's remaining years. They can't make moves for the future because they need to win now for LeBron. They're stuck in this middle ground where they're not good enough to contend for championships, but not bad enough to get high draft picks and start over. And LeBron isn't going to retire. Why would he? He's still making max money. He's playing with his son. He's comfortable in LA, and he's chasing records and milestones. But what's best for LeBron at this stage of his career isn't what's best for the Lakers as a franchise. Those interests have diverged, and the organization needs to be honest about that. The comment from Avery Johnson about casually staying at the same hotel as the Lakers and talking to their staff and players is revealing too. Because what he heard from them is that they know they're not good defensively, especially on the perimeter. The Suns scored on their first 13 possessions in the third quarter in a previous game. 13 straight possessions. That's not just bad defense, that's no defense. That's guys giving up, not communicating, not caring enough to get stops. And when your team culture is like that, when the effort isn't there consistently, that's a leadership problem. LeBron is the leader of this team by default because of who he is and what he's accomplished. But at 40, playing significant minutes, dealing with the physical toll of 21 NBA seasons, can he really provide the leadership and energy this team needs to turn things around? Based on what we're seeing, the answer appears to be no. The Lakers are a franchise that's all about championships. They don't hang division banners. They don't celebrate first-round playoff wins. They measure success by titles, and this current construction of the team isn't going to win a title. Everyone knows it except apparently the people making decisions in the front office. What should happen is this. The Lakers should sit down with LeBron and have an honest conversation about what's best for everyone. Maybe that means trading him to a contender where he can contribute as a role player and chase one more ring. Maybe that means he retires and moves into a front office role or ownership position. Maybe that means he finishes his career somewhere else and the Lakers start their rebuild now rather than wasting another year pretending this is going to work. But what's actually going to happen? The Lakers will probably make some minor moves before the trade deadline, try to patch things up with role players, convince themselves that getting healthy will solve everything, and then lose in the first or second round of the playoffs. And then next season, they'll be right back in this same situation, trying to figure out how to build around a 41-year-old LeBron who's another year older and another step slower. The broadcast mentioned that LeBron enters the Christmas game as the NBA's career leader in Christmas games played, with 19, and points scored on the holiday with 507. Those are amazing accomplishments. They're records that might never be broken. But they're also backward-looking stats. They're about what LeBron has done, not what he can do going forward. And the Lakers need to start making decisions based on the future, not the past. The analyst who said the Lakers might need more, but doesn't know if they can add before the deadline, hit on another problem. What can they realistically add that makes them a championship contender? A role player isn't going to fix their defensive issues. A backup big man isn't going to make them more athletic. They need a fundamental reconstruction of their roster, and you can't do that while committing max money to a 40-year-old player, no matter how great he's been. This isn't about disrespecting LeBron or diminishing what he's accomplished. This is about being realistic about where the Lakers are as a franchise and what they need to do to get back to championship contention. And right now, with LeBron as the centerpiece, they're not getting there. They're stuck in mediocrity, winning enough games to make the playoffs, but not good enough to do anything once they get there. The 3-game losing streak is just the latest evidence of what's been obvious all season. The Lakers aren't a real contender. Their record was fraudulent, and the LeBron era in LA needs to end so both sides can move forward. LeBron can go chase one more ring somewhere as a contributor rather than the main guy, and the Lakers can start building toward their next championship core without having to worry about fitting pieces around a 40-year-old superstar. But it won't happen. Because ending the LeBron era means admitting it didn't work out the way everyone hoped when he signed there. It means acknowledging that bringing him to LA produced one bubble championship in 6 years, and that's not the Lakers' standard. It means having difficult conversations and making unpopular decisions. And franchises, especially one as image-conscious as the Lakers, rarely do that until they absolutely have to. Something has to give, but the franchise seems too afraid to make the hard decision everyone can see needs to happen. Hit that like button and subscribe for more honest NBA analysis that doesn't pull punches.